How are we, boys and girls? Welcome to the Going Down Under podcast. I'm your host, Braam Hein, creating Koala on all social media platforms, and here we will be deep diving on all things health and wellness related. That was the first try. I'm goated. Can't chat to me about anything. Is this episode 6? I think it's episode 6. Is this episode 6 or 7? 6? 5? Six? I think it's 6. Sorry. Yeah, it's definitely episode 6 because I did episode 5 last week, which would make sense. But nonetheless, how are we? I feel like it's been a while since we've chatted. And by we, I mean you and me, as in the blue phone that's on a tripod. Pardon the breath. It might smell like beef and Nando's peri-peri sauce. Peri-naise, sorry. Which is goated. I had to order it on Amazon because it's goated. And it's only like 45 calories, which I know doesn't matter in the long run, whatever. But still, tastes fantastic. And I also realized that I said, mind my breath, in a room with nobody in it, except for me. So, nonetheless, we move. Ball up top, baby. God, this is why why do I do this? No, I know why I do this, sorry. But like, why do I say things and then know how stupid it's gonna be? Not how stupid it's gonna be. I just say it and then realize how stupid it is. It happens all the time, and I apologize to literally everyone that I talk to. Not literally everyone, but most people. Anyway, just hit a big quad focused leg day because I'm like that now, I guess. No, I have a new training split, which has been really cool. It's been really fun to mess around with. Shout out Casey Kelly. He's a YouTube guy, fitness influencer. He posted a video about a new training split, and I was really intrigued by it. And since I now have the freedom to do whatever I want, I'm gonna try it. It's like a chest and back day 1, shams, so shoulders and arms, day 2, quad focus leg day 3, rest, full upper body, hamstring focus leg day. Gonna play around with that for a little bit, do a lot of speed work and plyometric work within that as well. Explosion, power work, some might say, because I have a new goal. It's not a new goal. I talked about it to one of my mates last year, and I was like, I really want to run a 5-minute mile, which is insane for me to say, because I'm built like this, not a runner. I have a decently quick first step. The guy I'm talking about is going to be like, you're slow as shit. And he's probably right. But I mean, can either do long distances. And by long distances, I don't mean long distances. I mean, like I did pretty well in like the beep test, like the yo-yo test. I don't know if that's like it is an endurance test, but that's more so just my competitive nature. If I'm running by myself, I can't find any motivation to run more than 3K, which is like 2 and a bit miles, which I need to change because I really want to get better at running because I suck at it. That's why I want to get better at it. And my fastest ever mile, I think, was like 6:30, maybe. And I want to get under 5. And I definitely can't run a 6:30 right now. I think maybe I could run a 7:30, possibly. Maybe, if that. And it's going to be really interesting to try and get this because I suck at running and I hate running a lot because it sucks. I don't get why people like running. I mean, I don't hate it. I know it's very good for my cardiovascular system and it lowers my resting heart rate. I know it has a lot of benefits physiologically, whatever. Just the mental aspect of running freaking sucks for me. I'm sorry. But nonetheless, I got off track there. And the theme of today's episode, how to get back on track or to stay on track. Because that's something that I have personally struggled with a lot. I have struggled with it many times in many different aspects of my life with a lot of different things throughout my entire life. And I feel like a lot of people struggle with it, whether they're realizing it or not. But it's something that's really I've become very aware of how I get off track, and that's something we'll talk about later, and how to fix those kind of things. So I got very convicted to talk about it because it was something that really hit me in the past like week and a bit, because I was getting a little bit off track. And I also recently got sick. I don't know if I got sick or if I just got concussed, because I ate shit the other day because it's really icy in Michigan. And I was walking with my girlfriend, and I just take long steps because I'm really impatient when I walk. I just want to get to the next place. And it was just snowed, so it was kind of icy, but it was like just enough snow to where it was snowy, but it was also really cold, so it was icy. And there's this place like right outside our apartment where I just absolutely ate shit, because I didn't see the snow because I didn't see the ice, sorry, because there was snow on top. And I just felt like time slowed, and I was just looking up in the air like, why God? And then I hit my ass on the ice. The ice cracked because it was a thin layer, so my ass got wet. And then I went like absolutely jolted my neck back, hit my head on the pavement. It hurt, but I played it off. So I was like, wasn't that bad. It's okay. Haha, it was funny. But the front of my head hurt so bad for like 30 minutes. And I just didn't want to say anything because I was like, I don't want to seem lame because I just fucking ate shit. Like, but it was funny. It was really funny. And then I think I had a headache for like the next 2 days because of that. I thought I was sick, but I wasn't. I don't think I was sick, honestly. I think I just had a stuffy nose because of the cold, and a headache because I jolted my head and my brain hit the forefront of my skull. But regardless, I got off track for a little bit because of that. So I didn't work out because I was like, I thought I was sick. And also just because I needed the recovery because I was not okay. And I was in my head, I was like, I feel good today. Literally today, this morning, Wednesday the 5th. Which is just going to come out in like an hour or so. And I was trying to think of ways to how I can compensate everything that I'd missed today. And I was like, then I really thought about it, and I was like, what am I doing? Like, why am I so desperate to try and gain back what I lost? Because you didn't lose it. One of the things that happens with getting off track is it's inevitable. Like, life happens, situations happen, and you can't change that. Like, life happens, work happens, and that's the end of the story. Like, you can't stop time just because someone got sick, or you have to get called into work because no one's available, or you have this random assignment that you either forgot about, which you probably did, don't lie, or they just randomly popped it on you, which never happens, but it sometimes happens. So you have to do that right now. And finals week happens a lot. That happens to a lot of people, where 2 or 3 weeks leading up to finals or midterms, people get really off track with everything else because they're so focused on that. And some people need that. Some people really need to lock in on schoolwork because otherwise they can't get the grades that they need. They need to do that. So you need to put other stuff on the back burner to increase output in other areas because you need it. And I know I'm somebody who, when I do that, I try to then overcompensate later for the things that I miss out on, or I try to find some form of reasoning as to why that's okay, which then leads me down a further hole of, oh, I can just I can keep putting it on the back burner because it's okay and I'm doing something else. And that's a bad mentality to have, because I mean, I've personally done that with things like nutrition, where I'm like, oh, Friday, Saturday, I'm going to be going out to a party, or I'm going out to dinner with friends or an event of some sort, maybe like a basketball game or a gymnastics meet, which I'm now going to a lot, which are sick. They're so fun. But then that leads me to going off track on diet and all that kind of stuff on like a Wednesday and a Thursday. And then just because I'm feeling as though that since it's already going to be off track, I may as well do it now, which doesn't make any sense if you really think about it. But unless we move. And also, boredom happens. Like, especially in life with a lot of different aspects, you can get really locked in on something. Like, you can really get locked in on training. You can really get locked in on tracking calories. You can really get locked in on learning a new skill. And you can get bored really quickly. Or you can be really locked in for a while and then get bored. And then you go off track of that thing because you're like, I just don't want to do that. I was so locked in on it for so long that I just don't want to do it anymore. I want to shift my focus to something else. And then you get off track with that thing. You're like, oh, I should have kept with that because I was good at it. Or I was going really well. And that happens. Like, it is inevitable. That's going to happen. You're going to get bored with things. And I would argue if you don't get bored with things, you're not doing them enough to the point to where you know if you're good at it or if you want to continue it. If you don't feel at least a little bored with something. Like I felt bored with my training before. That's when you need to switch things up. You don't just chuck it. You don't just sack it off. You need to reevaluate how you're going to attack it, how you're going to assess it. So that's the first step, is realizing that going off track is inevitable. It's going to happen. And you have to be okay with that. And it's a thing to where it sucks to just be like, it's a lot easier said than done just to be okay with it. Because you can't just be, oh, yeah, I'm good. It's fine. Oh, I went off track with that. That's fine. Because you don't want to accept that. You don't want to accept that you went off track. Most people don't want to accept failures. Or they take it too far and then accept all failures as just that, as a failure. To where you then just stop trying in a lot of things and then it leads to plethora of ordeals. But if you accept going off track, if you accept not being perfect with things, then you are in a fantastic spot, because then you can bounce back from those things, or you can learn why you went off track for that thing and then go head on again in a different manner, and then hopefully that works better. The second way to stay on track or get back on track is to really find a why in the thing that you want to stay on track with. He who has a why can overcome anyhow. Plain and simple. If you have a set in stone why, you will not lose sight of it and you will stay on track. If you have this is an extreme, if you have a medical condition which is putting you at risk of your life, I bet money you're going to be really, really strict and really, really on track with what you need to do to not have that medical condition affect you as heavily. If you're morbidly obese, or if you have a severe heart condition, or you have really high blood pressure, and your body is just in a state of panic and it's at really high risk of disease, really high risk of cardiovascular disease, really high risk of just really bad immune responses. If you wait until it's too late, then it's just going to go to shit, right? But if you catch it early and say, hey, I'm really at risk of this, then you will probably lock in very, very quickly in terms of what you need to do to not be in that state anymore. There's a guy called Scotty K Fitness who he was very obese, I think. No, I don't know if he was obese. He was just very, very unfit and very unhealthy. And he had kids, and he was a firefighter or something like that. And he one of his kids, I can't remember the exact story. How am I blanking on this? I literally thought of this the other day. He had one of his kids was having a medical issue or something like that, and he didn't have the strength or like power or energy to help her in any way. So then he was like, on that, I am becoming the healthiest version of myself that I can be so I can take care of my kids. That is why, dude. And that made him lock in heavy. If you look at him now, he looks fantastic. Great bodybuilding physique. Very fit guy. Walks like his cardiovascular health is very, very high. And he helps as many people as he can through social media and through all those mannerisms, which is great. You love to see it. But it all started because he had a why. If you find that, boy, if you get off track with that, you need to have a long, hard conversation with yourself, because that's not the why, or that why isn't strong enough. And the key to finding it is really just asking yourself a lot of questions. The key to asking yourself that, honestly, is, I can't remember exactly what it's called, but you basically ask yourself the question why 5 times in a row. Because by the 5th one, you get really deep. Like, all my examples are about health and fitness and stuff like that. So you can go, why do I want to start the gym? Because I want to look better. Why do I want to look better? Because I'm not confident in myself. Why am I not confident in myself? Because I had a bad childhood and was bullied. And I don't know what to do when I look in the mirror. Well, why is that? And then you go, blah, 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 further and further. I'm not going to go, because that was getting deep. But in the hypothetical situation, that was just getting, I didn't want to do that. Anyway, finding a why is really important. That's the second step. The third step, or third actionable way, I guess, is to realize the patterns that happen when you get off track. That's something I've really internalized with myself, is being able to notice these things can really flip a switch in your head and be like, oh, okay, this is happening. No, like, I'm not doing that. It's just things like you can track weight, you can key in on the food or shows that you really like or you watch, the screen time on your phone, what's another way? Step count, probably, maybe. That's a good one for me personally, is if I notice these trends, like because I usually have a pretty formative routine. Is that the right word? Probably not. I stick to most of the same things all the time. Like, not because I am boring. Some people might think I am, but just because that's what I like. It's measurable. I like to do that. I'm controlling my behaviors. I like that. I aim to be very active in a day. I aim to work out once. I aim to do cardio 4 or 5 times. It's going to increase, hopefully every day here soon. And I aim to hit over 10,000 steps. But recently I've been hitting, since I got to Michigan, dude, I'm going to tell you right now. I'm at 14,000 right now, and it's 5:22 p.m. I'm getting up there. I'm averaging probably around 14, 15,000. Most days getting close to 18, over 20 maybe, which is good. It's really good for fat loss, really good for overall health. I would recommend it. Looking to fix, so in a calorie deficit helps you cause one, but nonetheless. Realizing the patterns that happen. So for me personally, I noticed that I watch a lot more. My screen time goes up a lot when I'm kind of getting off track, or my patterns of watching specific TV shows goes up, like certain long-term animes like Naruto or Black Clover Just those kinds of things, they go up, and then I kind of realize that's what's happening. I'm like, oh, not that those are bad things. Not that those are bad things at all. I do like watching those things. I'm going to continue to watch those things, but instead of watching one episode, I'd watch 3. And the difference between 20 minutes and 60 minutes is a lot. Or my spending habits go up, or my eating out habits go up, and I'm not dialed in on what this, because I'm like, oh, I don't have time, which is a friggin' lie. You do. I do, sorry. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to me. Well, I'm talking to you. Well, just talking to me. Sorry. And if you notice these trends, if you notice these patterns, it's obviously hard to do it just straight away, because you're like, what are they? I don't know. What if I don't know what these patterns are? Just keep tabs on yourself. Like, not like write down everything you do, but think back on times that you've either gone off track, or that frame of mind where you don't feel like you're completely 100% mentally there. Think back to what happens during those times. And if you don't know, that's completely fine. Just be aware of it in the future. So then when it does happen, you're like, okay, I was off track here. What was different to my regular on track, staying in my lane routine, to where you might be waking up later, you might be staying up too late, you might be over consuming caffeine, which I'm definitely doing, but that's fine because I'm staying on track with it. Sorry. But it might be you're really, really slacking on getting homework in early, or you're not keeping in touch with as many people as you would like to. You're not keeping tabs or keeping notes on what you really want to continue to strive for, or you're not maintaining relationships that you want to maintain. You're not going out with friends as much. That is a big thing as well. And noting what these things are is a different thing to being way too strict with a routine, and not having one thing in that routine is like falling out of track. That's not what happens. That's not how life works. Every day is different. If every day is the same, good on you. But it's life is inevitably going to happen someday, and you might be able to have the same strict routine for 2 months. Some people have seen it happen for like half a year. Cool. Something like, there's going to be days, or maybe within that period, or you might go a full year and then the next day something happens. Like, you just, car breaks down, or power goes out, water shuts off, something like that. There's going to be mishaps. You just gotta, those aren't falling out of routine. Those are just little wedges that just need to make you adjust a little bit. Those are fine. But if you notice yourself doing things consistently that aren't in the streamline of what you want to do, then that's where you're like, okay, this is what's happening. I can fix it, and it's okay. And the last thing that I want to talk about is kind of what I touched on at the start of the episode, is the biggest thing to get back on track is to not overcompensate for what you thought was lost. It's just going to lead to burnout. It's plain and simple. If you don't work out for a week, and then you're like, oh, damn it. Then you work out 3 times a day for 2 weeks. What do you think is going to happen in the 3rd week? You're going to be dead tired. And you're probably going to repeat the cycle again. Say you've never worked out before. If you try to be like, oh, I missed so many gains, or I missed so much health opportunities, I'm going to start CrossFit. Whoa, first of all, Hyrox is way better. No, I'm kidding. It is, but I'm kidding. If you try to do way too much too quickly, you're just going to fall into the same patterns again, because you're going to absolutely demolish yourself with too much workload, and you can't. The principle of progressive overload, I believe, applies to life, because you can't just like join a STEM college course if you haven't taken all the prerequisites. If you haven't taken the prerequisites and you join that course, you're going to be so lost and you're going to fail. And that's not your fault. Well, it is your fault for joining the course, but you just don't know what's going on. You don't know the fundamentals. You don't know understanding of how to use different things in different ways to get certain things out of a random equation, because you don't know algebra. Like, so you can't overcompensate. And I do see this a lot with caloric restriction. Personally, for myself, I've done that a lot in the past. I see a lot in friends and stuff like that, to where they're like, I ate yesterday, so I'm just gonna not eat breakfast or lunch. And for some people that works, but if you over restrict, if you overcompensate for lost time, you will inevitably fall back off the track, because you can't maintain it. You can't maintain the overcompensation, because you're just gonna fall back into bad habits, or fall back into the best way to put it is just don't burn yourself out because you thought you missed too much. Because if you do, it's just, I'm saying this to myself, truly, I am, because I personally, especially with diet and working out, I try to do too much all the time, because that's just how I am. But being on track, and just, if I miss a day or two because of a concussion, I don't have to fit 3 workouts into one day on top of the already cardio that I was going to do that day. I don't have to fit in so much volume of resistance training into one session and absolutely obliterate my body for the next week just because I missed a few days. I just hit legs. So what happened was I missed my shoulders and arms day yesterday, and I didn't do as much on Monday in chest and back that I wanted to. So my mindset going into the resistance training was, I'm going to hit the full leg session, and then I'm going to hit 4 exercises from my shoulders and arms, and I'm going to hit a few sets of back too. And then I really thought about it. I'm like, that's 12 different exercises on top of legs. And so my CNS, my peripheral nervous system, everything is going to be cooked. I'm going to be dead afterwards. For what? There are workouts where you need to push yourself really, really hard. And I do push myself really, really hard, which is my thing, is that I would have pushed myself way too hard on top of that. So I would have been absolutely deceased, and then probably felt like shit afterwards. And then everything else would have gone off track for the day. And I think I've taken a big step in realizing that thing, because so what happened was I hit maybe half of my, not half, 3/4 of my leg workout that I was meant to have today. I hit them pretty hard. I didn't do as many sets that I had planned, because I also hit some shoulders and arms because I missed them yesterday. But I only hit 1 set of shoulders, 1 set of tries, 1 set of buys. Because I knew in my head that I would still feel bad if I didn't hit at least something. But 2 sets of those 3 muscle groups, which I didn't have planned today, is still going to be enough stimulus to grow a little bit of muscle. And it's enough mental clarity for myself to know that I did do I didn't miss out on a lot, but it's just dialing it down because I didn't overcompensate. I compensated a little bit, which you don't have to do. You can just get back on the track. But I know my body. I know I could handle that if I just tape it down today a little bit and then add a little bit more to just get back the overall stimulus that I was going to get today, but just divvy it up a little bit more. And that's why I was very convicted to talk about this today. It was because I didn't realize how much I do that in life, try to overcompensate with a lot of things. So realistically, I love you personally, but I'm recording this so I can look back on this myself and chill out on not why, but I don't have to compensate with so much stuff. This sounds like I'm compensating for other things, which I'm not, I don't think. No, but I'm talking about diet, working out, relationships with people. I feel like I need to overcompensate with a lot because I missed out on a workout, or I really miss out on workouts, but if I get sick and I miss out on workouts, then I have to overcompensate with that. Or if I am sick and overeat or undereat, then I don't have to overcompensate the next day or regardless. And I don't have to overcompensate in relationships, especially. And neither do you. That if you miss something because you physically can't make it, you don't have to make it up to that person just because you feel like you have to. You don't have to. You just, if you really care about the relationship with that person, you're gonna make time for it. But you don't have to buy them dinner because you couldn't go to a event that was planned. You don't have to buy them a car because you accidentally stepped on their shoe. You know what I mean? It's just being okay with staying on the track and slowing it down. It's going to slow down sometimes. You just need to stay on it. If that makes sense. I think I went on a lot of different tangents today, and I might have said a lot of the same shit, but that's because it's important. So, realistically, just stay on track, track your patterns, realize that if something happens a lot during times of trouble, those are maybe safety mechanisms. So, realize that they're happening and you can change it. Have a why. Really have a why, because then it's going to be really hard to get off track if you have that why and don't overcompensate. Stay consistent with your stuff, and if you miss the stuff, don't try to gather all the volume together at once, because you will feel like shit, and you shouldn't feel like shit. You're beautiful, except for you. You bastard. Sorry, that was mean. I didn't mean that. I do mean you're lovely. I was looking directly at somebody. I don't know who, but I'm looking at you. But I've talked for a lot longer than I thought I would. I was honestly aiming for like 15 to 20 minutes. And I think it's over 34. I think it's going to be like 35 minutes, which I need to chill on how I talk, because I talk a lot about random things. But isn't that like the concept of a podcast, I guess? Nonetheless, I just ate beef and rice, but I also need to eat more food because I need to get calories in and I need to eat the protein. So I'm about to air fry some salmon so I can say that I've used my air fryer more than once. And guess how many times this is going to be used? Well, how many times this is going to make it that I used it? Does that sentence make sense? I'll give you a hint. I'm holding it up. 2. It's 2. I've got it in maybe December. Opened it maybe mid-January, and I used it to make something. What did I make? Wait, prawn. Shrimp? Yeah, shrimp. Oh, I have shrimp. I could make shrimp. I'm not going to. I'm going to make the salmon because I have it. I can't forget about the shrimp. Don't let me forget about the shrimp. I'm not going to forget about the shrimp. I'm going to actually put it in my meals for tomorrow. Can I? Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I was going to make, if you guys want to know my exact meal, I'm going to make 8 ounces of Atlantic sockeye salmon. Because that's in a pack that I bought and it was on special and it's going to expire tomorrow. So I'm going to make that today. And I'm going to make 3 eggs because I want 3 eggs. And I'm going to have a Thomas Light whole grain English muffin. There's a little bit of fiber and it's like 100 calories. And they're actually really, I love English muffins. They are so good. So good. Anyway, I'm going to do that. And I continued to talk for an extra 30 minutes after I said that I needed to go. Damn it. But regardless, I appreciate you for sticking around for this long if you have. And I really appreciate all the support with everything. I know people are very supportive of me doing this. And I just hope that I'm reaching at least a few people and helping out as much as I can through my experiences and through my idiocy and being not the smartest tool in the shed, but I have experiences. I'm not dumb. I'm dumb. If that makes sense. It does make sense if you know me. Respectfully. So why did I say that? Anyway, have fun. Enjoy life. Don't overcompensate for things. Stay on track. If you get off track, it's okay. Get back on. Start driving. You'll be fine. Be the conductor. Polar Express. Good movie. I need to stop. Anyway, have a good one. I love you. Enjoy.